The generic, geriatric, cyclist. Goals. You've got to have goals.
But I went 72 years without goals, and see how that's worked out. Oops. Maybe you have to have goals. At least I already have a plan. Well, sort of a plan anyway. I'm going to ride as much as my mind and body will allow me while sticking to a sensible dietary plan. So, broadly speaking, wherever that takes me is the goal. So let's get on with it. There are few things that are more motivating than riding with a group. But generally, I choose to just go out and ride alone, and I have to force myself to join group rides. It seems I simply have an aversion to being at a certain place at a certain time, and I have to get over that. I need to get over that personality quirk and just bite the bullet and go on group rides.
I belong to 2 cycling clubs, one in the county north of where I live and one in the county to the south. The club to the south is called the Bicycle Touring Club of North Jersey.
My favorite ride with this club is called the Thursday Morning Social. The name of the ride has morphed into the Thursday Morning Social Distancing Adult Daycare Ride. It's generally 45 to 55 miles at a relaxed pace, and many of the riders are retirees like me. There are enough stops to accommodate our aging bladders, and there's always a good lunch stop.
And if you ride with this club, you might even encounter 88-year-old Carver Washburn, a living legend. I've seen him on several rides. The big annual event for this club is the Ramapo Rally. I plan to ride the metric.
The Bicycle Touring Club of North Jersey also has a lot of other weekday rides. When you're retired, you don't have to wait until the evening or the weekends to ride.
My club to the north is the Orange County Cycling Club. The entire club meets in a parking lot on Saturday mornings, and the various groups are called out to do their rides.
Summer rides start at 8 a.m., and that's a 45-minute drive from my house. So my desire to sleep a little bit later has kept me from going on these rides, which I generally enjoy.
I also plan to do a metric century in the Tour de Goshen, which is a ride sponsored by Joe Fixit's Bike Shop. It travels over similar roads as the OC Bicycle Club does. The shop is one of the best around.
Then there are 2 rides in the Adirondacks that I look forward to doing.
The first has been cited as the best ride in New York State by Bicycling Magazine. It goes 47 miles along the single road, so I can't get lost, from Saranac Lake to Cranberry Lake in the High Peaks region of the Adirondacks.
In the same general area of the state, I'm very much looking forward to going on a ride from Lake George to Fort Ticonderoga and then coming back to Lake George on a boat.
Watch out for that killer climb in the middle of the ride.
I did that ride in 2018 with my nephew Nick, who's also called Nitro, for obvious reasons if you saw him run and if you saw him ride a bike and if you saw him do any of the other physical activities that he's a master of. Another big event I plan to participate in is the Grand Fondo, New Jersey. It's another ride that has been cited by Bicycling Magazine as being the best in the state. Specifically, they picked out the 62-mile Medio Fondo, and that's the ride I plan to be doing.
The Garden State Fondo is only about an hour from my home. There are 2 timed uphill sections.
I'm planning my biggest event of the season for early October, where I plan to do the Seagull Century in Salisbury, Maryland.
I'm planning to do the Seagull Century because it's late in the season and it's also pretty flat. But at the same time, it rides through some very scenic areas.
By that time, I've hopefully lost 30 pounds and have put in enough miles so that the century will be enjoyable. And despite what I've said about specific goals, I have 3 goals that I will have to complete during the season. First, I want to lose that 30 pounds that I put on during COVID. My mileage goal is 4,500 miles. And hopefully with putting in those miles and doing regular interval training, I'll be able to raise my FTP by 20%. Now, supposedly, old guys like me can't raise their FTP, but I'm planning to prove them wrong.
Hey John, did you forget something, or did you leave it out of the video on purpose?
Caught like a rat in a trap. Now I have to bring up the only topic I fear as much as my need to lose weight. Hills. Yes, hills, the nemesis of every overweight cyclist. Also, why does my conscience have a very familiar woman's voice?
I've always had a hard time with hills, but I hate them even more now that I've gained all this weight. Imagine trying to go up a hill with 30 pounds of potatoes in a backpack. I'm not one of these flat earth people, but I wish that the earth was flat. But it's not. So if you're going to ride a bicycle, you're going to have to go up hills. My first goal is to ride up a local hill called Bear Mountain.
I never tire of the views from Bear Mountain.
Bear Mountain is about a 1,300-foot climb, and it's about 5 miles long with an average 5% gradient. The second hill climbing goal may be a little bit silly, I realize it myself, but I want to climb the Alpe de Zwift on, where else? Zwift. It's a reproduction of the famed Alpe d'Huez, a climb that appears in many Tour de France races. Even if I'm able to do it, it'll probably take about an hour and a half, or maybe even more. If it really were the actual Alpe d'Huez, I'd be going so slow that I probably wouldn't be able to maintain my balance on the bike. But this is on a trainer, so I can't fall off. So, that's it for now. See you next time.